everyone, welcome back to the 6X, and I say welcome back. We know it's been a long 4 months, but we're finally here to bring another episode. It's episode 3. I'm Jason Kaplan, joined by Blank and Maxman, who apparently finds this very, very funny when it's his first time here on the show and going to be definitely his last. But guys, how are y'all doing today? Blank, how's it been since being back from PMGC?
It's good. Dude, Max makes me laugh so much, but I always feel like I'm one of those bad kids at the back of the classroom and we're both like trying really hard not to laugh. But yeah, it's been nice being back at home. As you can see, we're winning. The wall is no longer blank. I'm blank and I have a mustache now.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call it. Max, how have you been?
I've been doing good. You know, I've been chilling around for some time. I got back into college, so that's what feels bad, man. I gotta work. I gotta work. I don't know what work was feeling like, but now I'm back into it. And you know, after the PMGC, I took it a little bit chill, and now fun times to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. So obviously on today's show, as you kind of mentioned, Max, we're talking about PMGC, talking about what happened at PMGC for us on our end, obviously what happened with the event in general, and even our take on what happened overall within the PMGC, and maybe talking a little bit about the future, because you guys have obviously seen some roster changes, and of course you have PMCOs coming up. So let's just dive straight into it. PMGC. If I'm not mistaken, Max, you and Blank both got there like 4 days before I did, right? You guys had some other like content to shoot, but we didn't really get to see much of it yet.
I don't know if you'll ever see it, to be honest with you. I don't know if it'll ever... It's lost.
It's someone like a USB key is like, I don't know where it is.
In the desert. Yeah, so me and Max went into the desert. I don't know how much I can talk about this, just in case like thrown up on the YouTube channel at some point, but we rode camels. We went to a traditional Bedouin camp. We sang "We Will Rock You" whilst playing tambourines round a fire.
Wait, was it nighttime in the desert?
Yeah, we were there all day.
I was gonna say, like, I don't imagine you need a fire when it's daytime in Dubai in a desert.
Late at night. It was really late when we got there. It was actually like, dude, we had like really good food and everything. It was actually really good. Like we rode the camel, then we ate the camel. You know, all the entire cycle of life in like one day.
Wait, did you guys really eat a camel?
No. Yeah, we ate the camel.
No, not okay. Maybe not the camel, but did you eat a
camel?
No,
we did. It was an interesting taste. I don't think I'll do it again, but I'm in it for the experience. And he was really kind when he was offering me the camel.
What did it taste like?
It's quite sweet.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I agree. Yes.
You know, my favorite. So, okay, before we move on very swiftly from this conversation, my favorite part about that whole experience was getting to the meal and then just seeing Max did this. He's like, we'd eaten so much. They gave us a starter, and they're like, that's not actually the starter, by the way. So we had like a 5-course meal, and we got to the main meal, and I just look across at Max. He's doing this.
I was done.
Off into the stars, and I was like, "Yo, Max, you okay?" And he just looks at me and goes, "I'm so full."
I was like, literally, I told you 2 right after. I was like, "Do you think you're gonna finish yours?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna finish it." Like 2 mouthfuls after, he's like, "I'm done."
Yeah, we had so much to eat. It was crazy. It was good though.
The face that I'm seeing you made for Max, that's like his. I'm 8 vodka apple juices into a night, and I'm just trying to decide all the mistakes I've done in my life so far.
No. I was wondering. I was like, I genuinely was worried. I was wondering if he was okay. We were out in the desert. We were a long way from home, to be fair.
I was food drunk. I was like, no.
Yeah, me too. Dude.
Maybe it was the camel you had. Who knows? I actually, like, before we get into this, I had no clue they actually ate a camel, so this is news to me.
Yeah.
And then what? I ended up flying in, and then the next day I think we all went up the Burj Khalifa minus Hot Jukes, which I think he was. Oh, he was in a very special. No, Hot Jukes wasn't there. He was in a very special seminar. Remember?
Oh my god. Yeah. So Hot Jukes tried to scam the scammers in the hotel, and he wasted like 4 hours of their time.
He got free food. He got a YouTube video out of it, which I'm assuming will come eventually.
Taking photos of like crazy rooms that he would never stay in. And then he declined all their offers. So it was great.
That room, by the way, it's apparently like the best room you can get in the hotel we ended up going to second. $30,000 a night. That's what he said to me.
Was that it?
Yeah.
30,000.
Wait, is that
Okay.
it? Sorry, Max. We don't make the big
Max
bucks
is
No,
like
no,
you.
I mean, like, is that like the number? No, like, is that just it? Like, I meant like that's actually like the number. No, I'm not. I wish I was that rich.
I want to know what rate Max is getting for these events now because I think I'm getting
You
underpaid.
wish you knew.
Dude, his G Fuel sponsor is coming through clutch right now.
Hey, we are not endorsed by G Fuel. Save that until
No.
they pay to be on the show. So then, right, then we had the problems occur, right, which I think we can talk about a little bit here.
The problem. It's
The
like
next- I think it
a
was that
Quentin
night.
Tarantino episode. The problem.
It was like that night, right? We end up getting
Yeah.
told through in some form we got told that 3 players tested
Yeah.
positive for coronavirus. Now, you know 2 of them. I think they already released about it, talked about it after the event. It was Luxy and Zuxy, but there was a third in there, which I don't think we should be saying who it is. If I'm not mistaken, he later tested negative, so he was cleared from it. And that kind of put things into a weird halt for the whole event, right? Because at the hotel during breakfast, like everyone's down there, everyone's eating together. I mean, Seven like hugged Luxy, or like I think Imperium like fist bumped Luxy. Like there was a lot of intermingling between players, and it kind of put things into like a very quick hold for the event, right? I remember thinking to myself, Max, like this could get really bad really quickly. 3 cases could turn into 20 cases, could turn into everyone here at the event having corona.
Yeah, I mean, I was backtracking, like, wait, I said hi to this guy, he said hi to that guy, and then, like, oh, wait, where did we all go? I'm trying to backtrack the information. But like, unfortunately, that was the moment where the production crew were like, well, no, we can't do the LAN event with players, like, in the arena anymore because, you know, it's too much of a risk. And I got to say, like, and I think we can all agree on this, like, the production crew was great when it come down to, like, being very cautious about COVID. The moment the information was out, they were like, okay, we're not going to have the players over there, just the talent crew at the event. So already that alone, I got to say, the protection of the players was great. But it was a weird time where, like, what's happening? We had no idea. Like, even us as talent, we were there, like, we have literally as little information as you guys at home.
Yeah.
It was pretty hard times.
It was a struggle bus.
It was scary.
It was scary, but I think like Mike says, I think the way it was handled was pretty good. Like a lot of clamps went down pretty damn quick to put a stop to like any mingling sort of that happening, and a lot of things were quickly rectified. So
I mean, we were
think
doing
it worked out
nose
quite
jabs every day, right? We're getting corona tests every day. Every player, every talent was getting corona tests every single day. We provided face masks, we provided body suits to protect us as we went from like our hotel room to the event. And I'll tell you, wearing those things, like us walking downstairs together out of the elevator, I felt so badass. And then you see Imperium just ripped out the ass. We gotta get a picture of that up at some point.
I have it.
You have it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the picture? Oh, yes. Oh.
It was good times, but the thing is,
It was good times. My
we-
favorite part was I went downstairs and no one knew who I was when I was in the hazmat suit, and it was like freedom of just I could be anyone. I got into the lobby, and this very nice Chinese lady came up to me and she said, "Svan, 4 a.m." And I was like, "Yes, this is it." And then I said, "No, I'm not Svan." But
you wish you were that handsome.
I do, but I was for a second mistaken for Svan from 4 a.m., which is cool.
Yeah, you were mistaken for someone famous for once.
So
Then
successful.
Yeah. And then we ended up having like a rehearsal day, right? So we ended up getting there. We ended up doing like our normal checks and stuff like that. That would pretty kind of standard. And then we get into the first day of the event here, and this is where kind of, and we're not trying to like paint the event too negatively, but just more of giving an idea of what all happened, right? If you're not familiar with the whole situation. So we go into the event day 1. And that's when we had some tech issues arise with players' internet back at the hotel, because obviously it was intended to have them in the arena, which we have to say, by the way, the stage looks sick, and the way it was utilized was phenomenal as well. But then we had tech issues, players unable to connect. We've had the remix happen early on, and it seemed like things ended up being sorted. But the unfortunate part we found out later was that players were actually playing with not equal ping and not being suitable to a proper playing environment.
Yeah.
And that was actually the reason why we added like extra games afterwards on the few days after, because that first day was like kind of like heavily impacted, I would say, in many ways. So like they had to try and find a fix for that. So like adding extra games for the days after was the best way. But the casters were casting after, like they had like 8 games, 7 games in a day. They're like, oh bro,
Yeah.
that was hard.
Well, so the crazy thing was there's actually discussions that day 1 would be nullified and they would actually start fresh with day 1 on the next day. But obviously, as we came to find out, that didn't end up happening. But we had some interesting things happen. So let's get all the tech issues out of the way now that we can start to actually talk about, you know, what the next days were like for us, then obviously talk about the event. So day one, obviously we did get the games done. We got it sorted. We finally got through it. Day two, I think Max, you, myself, and Seven earned our money on the desk because we had to fill so much. But that is what we're there for, to be fair. That's when the internet issues really started having problems for the players. Players were unable to connect to the lobby. Players are being dropped, remakes constantly. And that's why we ended up having to cancel day two and then move it to another day.
I was cursing it. I was like, hey, hopefully we have the game happen. Send it to Castle. Like,
no.
No.
So that makes me think that Instagram post, the Maxman curse, right? The Instagram post about day two about to go live, guys. Make sure you join over at youtube.com/PUBG Mobile Esports. And then everything died.
Yeah, well, Max is a pretty powerful wizard, to be honest with you, so don't mess with him. He will demolish you with his black magic.
Oh my god. Okay, I'll just stop all my social media game. I guess I'll say I'll just all teams good. I say nothing now.
Just wield your new warlock powers with just more fancy. You know, call Cthulhu into the arena next time. I think you need to go big. I think you need to go big or go home. You know, come on.
Okay, I'll try and I'll go to Hogwarts. I'll try.
Yeah, to be fair, the day one was still interesting for me and John. It was quite easy actually because we just did our casting and then we went away.
You got some nice Five Guys, nice milkshake. Well, you got a salad.
Yeah, I got a salad. I was trying to be healthy, and then I got like 5 Guys, 2 days running.
Yeah. So
it just all went wrong. So I was like, I need to get burgers.
You need some serotonin, right? You know, you can't keep eating the salad. So then let's just wrap this up. So day two, the delays happen. Into day three, the event's supposed to be started. They ended up delaying that entire day because they couldn't fix around the issues. And then throughout the rest of the days, it's not like we were sitting there like, oh, vacation, let's go out to the pool, let's go chill. We were all the time, we're taking it very seriously. All the crew were taking it very seriously. Again, we had our COVID tests every day. We were provided food, so we didn't have to leave our room. We were told not to leave our room just for the chance of potentially catching COVID. But we were basically on standby the whole time, right, Max? Like we were just sitting there like waiting for the message in the morning if today's gonna happen, if we're going, or if we had to stay another day at the hotel.
Yeah, I mean, I was super sad because I wanted to go out one day and like buy some Mario shoes, and I couldn't go buy them.
Mario shoes.
Yeah, it was like an Adidas like Mario like crossover. I was like, oh, I want to buy those. I'll get them tomorrow. It was like, and tomorrow never happened, unfortunately. But like, yeah, we took it all really seriously. We just stayed in our rooms. We were gaming. You know, we were trying to get some games in on our tablets and our phones and in fun times, playing some PUBG Mobile and stuff. And you know, at the end, it was a little bit boring, and we had to watch the show from a distance. But at the end of the day, you know, the show was still able to happen, and that was still good for the show entirely. Because having to potentially delay the entire show, because that was something that could have happened. The show could have been completely delayed to like an altered date, which would have been like, I don't know how that would have worked out, but that would have been damn scary for the entire run.
That would have been very costly.
Yeah. It would have been very costly. Personally, I think that might have been the solution though, but I think that's the ideal solution. But I think, as you said, Jason, it's very expensive because you got to redo the whole thing essentially, because that stage doesn't stay there. It has to be pulled down and rebuilt somewhere else. You have to pay for new like allotment costs on an area to actually set up a stage. So it's difficult, but I think the ideal solution would have been to just move the event to a different
on that note, though,
but it's just not possible.
About the stages, because it leads me into like what we can talk about now, is that people didn't know this, but there actually were 2 stages identical. There was one in Dubai, and there was actually one in Shanghai, because the company who was doing the show was in Shanghai. So they had that stage in Shanghai for like beauty shots, and there was like the idea floated around of, you know, someone asked us, hey, do you guys have visas for China? Potentially just moving everyone to China to do the show, because they already have the stage, they have a production crew and everything like that. But obviously it didn't happen in the end. But, you know, it is obviously a shame we didn't get to technically be a part of all the games, but I'm obviously a big shout out to Choo Choo, Sir Cloud, Icy Baby, L Dog, and Jessica Jelly as well for filling in for us throughout the next days. Because Choo Choo in particular, I don't know why she went to the hospital, but after the 2 days of casting, she like didn't do the next day because she came back from the hospital of doing 7 games straight, then 8 games straight of basically no break. She's a trooper, 100%.
Yeah, that's not a position that I'd like to be in, to be honest with you. I
Yeah,
remember
you
there's a lot
get
of
you get
people-
Blank and John Wine. I like to cast 4 games a day, and Choo Choo's doing 8 games a day.
No. Look,
Max has got my back. Max has my back.
No,
Hell
look,
yeah, you casters got it easy.
no. It's so I'll tell you. So I'll tell you the difference, right? Analyst work is very, very long, and it's equally as probably tiring. But because we do it at such a high intensity for such a long amount of time, I would say casting does get very tiring very quickly.
Okay, one caveat to that. Have you heard how fast Max talks on the desk? He puts 100% energy into it. I need the
Yeah,
same amount of
Top
energy.
10 people Eminem is scared to diss. Okay.
I conserve energy. See, I conserve. Anyway, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think if you start casting any more than 8 games, it's like, in fact, I know because when I was in Shanghai 2 years ago, actually, casting PUBG Mobile Force, but I think it was 2019. Basically, I casted more than 8 games. I casted 12 games a day there, and past 8 games, I was just delirious. I thought I was in a different dimension when I got to that 12th game, and I just get in the taxi ride, and the taxi was like 30 minutes back to the hotel. It felt like 2 minutes. I was just looking out the window, and it was like dolphins swimming past. It was crazy. Not good.
I was supposed to do that event. Now I don't regret it.
I had still Red Bull to keep me going as well. Who has still Red Bull? Apparently
Wait,
Shanghai.
so there is like 2 types of Red Bull. There is like the normal Red Bull that you see like in the Western world for us, but there's also like an Eastern version of it where it's like a syrup.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah.
In like a yellow can?
Yeah, in a yellow can.
Oh my god, that stuff destroys you.
Weird.
That stuff is like so strong.
Yeah, I went through like 4 a day, and then I had like
Ugh.
little sweet shots of coffee. No wonder I was pretty fat back then.
Was fat? So let's talk. I'm kidding. He's not fat. He's not fat at all. But let's talk about the event, right? Let's kind of start from the beginning of it. So we kind of give you our take of like how the event was for us. But let's talk about like our expectations going into the event, right? Because obviously we all 3 worked on PMGC League stage. We got to see the 4 weeks of action that happened there, with obviously 4AM taking home the title and BTR coming in second. Personally, I mean, just to kick things off, I was expecting BTR to come into this event looking to make a statement, right? Because obviously they wanted to challenge.
Hello.
What's up?
XQF won.
No, the league stage, bro.
Oh.
This guy.
Oh. But we're talking about the PUBG Mobile Global Championship finals.
Yeah, but we're talking about our expectations going into the event of the finals.
Storylines, man. Storylines. Yes.
Okay. My brain was like, mistake.
Hey, Blank, you can't see it, but I'm giving you the scissors right now.
Oh.
So what happened? So we had BTR come in second, 4AM take first place, right? And I think with BTR even like in an interview saying like, yeah, we want to play against the best Chinese teams. We want to prove to everyone we're the best team in the world. I expected them to come into the finals just like slapping everyone around, showing what they've got. But that day 1 didn't happen.
Well, look, let's be a little bit lenient. I mean, these are the same guys that said we had coronavirus.
See, okay, so I will not agree with that. Yes, they obviously said they had coronavirus, but they also said they had no symptoms at all. Whereas Levison from Footballist, he's the one who was like wearing a full body suit, having medics check him out, and was playing and feeling like crap at the end of every game. So I don't want to give him that out, because they are the defending champions, and if they were having problems, like issues, like headaches, stuff like that, then I would be like, okay, it makes sense.
No, because you've got to think about the mental aspect of that.
Okay.
Imagine you're told like you might have coronavirus, and you're waiting for the symptoms to come, and they don't come in the end, and then you're through the event, and it's a stress. I would say it's a really stressful experience. And do you know why I still think that BTR's? I would say they are the best team right now, still in the world, just because of those last couple of days. The fact they were able to bring it back so much after falling so far behind is just unreal. And the pressure that's on you in the last 2 days is probably the most. So the fact they can perform then is just insane.
Real quickly, Max, before you give your thoughts, I do actually have to kind of not correct myself, but add this information in. I did talk to Itzfan, their coach, and he did say there was like a big mental toll taken on them because they feel like they let their teammates and their fans down by getting that, and I know they're feeling extra pressure, so I do have to add that in to kind of like correct myself there. But Max, like, what was your thoughts on BTR like coming into the event? Like, what did you expect out of them?
I was expecting BTR to really like. I was expecting first day like they're gonna go super hard, like get a great day, like top 3, but like they were like bottom of the table right away. It's like I got flipped off like really hard. I was really,
Wait, you got
really
flipped
surprised.
off?
No, not in that.
Who flipped
way.
you off?
No. Who did this? Like, of course they were like 16th, 15th position at the very, very end of that day, and like they were like at their bottom. And also like you did mention a mental aspect. Like for them, they even were thinking like this entire LAN event did not happen because we caught it, unfortunately, which it is like it can happen to anyone. They should not feel like that, but unfortunately, like the mental aspect, you can't really fully have impact on influence on it. So they did struggle a bit from that at the end, but like still afterwards, I do agree with you. Like you said, they're one of the best teams in the world, and I fully agree with you on that one, Blank, because they made it in like one game from like 15th, 16th position to like 8th, like on the first side of the table. Like what? One game? And then they just kept like performing so well. But unfortunately, that day 1 and day 2 issue that they were trying to recover in the 2 last days, like kind of just caused them so much demise. They still made it to like 5th position at the end of the day, which is still insane on like the best teams in the world. But unfortunately, the fact that they just fell so far behind on the 2 first days, like did really hurt them at the end.
Yeah, and I think that, look, at the end of the day, if you are Bigatron, though, the Indonesian fans, they came out in force for these guys.
Yeah. Hashtag Indo Pride.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I really appreciate that. The fact that so many people came out to support them, like even in like trying times, like those are good fans. Those are good fans. Those are the type of fans you want to have.
So like before we get into talking about like the results and stuff and our impression of how the teams did over the event, I kind of want to get like what was your expectations for other teams? Like who were the ones you expected to perform well going into the event? For me personally, I kind of expected footballs to be there. I know they didn't perform well during GC League stage, but I expect them to do what footballs does, is like really show up when they can. Class stage athletics as well, like that consistency they maintained throughout the league stage was fantastic. I was kind of hoping for, I want to say Power 888 to do decent.
Yeah.
But obviously, as we saw, that didn't really work out in the end. Like, what about you, Blake? Like, what teams were you looking for?
I actually thought Nova XQF were going to win, to be honest with you. I'm not even joking, because, and this is, I doubled down on this because I've said it for the entire tournament, and it actually just disappointed me every single time during the league stage. I was like, I'll just stick to my guns. But from the stuff that I'd seen, for instance, PEC, looking back at that, Nova XQF actually during like short form tournaments performed really well. I think I put out a meme about Gimli and how like they're very good over short distances. They're natural born sprinters, these guys. So I did think that they had a very good chance of winning the actual PMGCF because it was only 4 days. Well, I think it was always meant to be 3 days, right?
No, it was meant to be
4 days.
4 days. 4 days. 4 days. So still 4 days. Like that is a short amount of time. They can do it in 4 days. So yeah, I kind of expected Nova XQF to win, and that finally, like, look, I'll be honest with you. I was not 100% confident in them, but still,
especially after day 1 when they like had the highest placing of 3rd.
Yeah, I was like, but in those last moments, it really brought out. I was proud of them.
What about you, Max?
I think it was the same thing. I was thinking, like, my theory was like, they do good short tournament with PC, long tournament 1 month, they do bad. Like, they're gonna prove if they can do always good in like short tournaments.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe yes.
We got the big brain vibes going on.
Exactly, and they did it right. They took the tournament really strongly. They definitely stood up in like many big ways. And I think that also because they were a team that was doing really good in the PC, and like they still had a lot of international teams. But I think that 1 month of league stage actually allowed them to adapt in many big ways and get so much information that at the end rewarded them with like the finals. They're like, okay, we learned a lot. We did a lot of VOD reviewing after the league stage. We got all that information now, and their rotations were just so clean going into the finals. And that just is the result of like 1 month of league stage. Sure, they didn't win it, but at the end, it's whoever wins the finals that's the big winner, and they came out there.
Jason, I've got a question for you actually. Do you think that Nova XQF has more potential than 4AM? Because I was wondering, maybe it's just that 4AM adapted quicker, but Nova XQF don't have a limit. They don't have a limiter on them.
I don't know. I feel like we had a kind of bit of underperformance out of a couple of players for 4AM in this tournament.
Okay.
I look towards the MVP we had of league stage, right? Of Svan. He kind of seemed non-existent. Sook did extremely well. Haseki, I was expecting maybe to see a little bit more, but Sook and Svan, like that's the double S's we talked about when it came to league stage, and it seemed like he couldn't just kind of hit his stride. I'm not sure exactly why. I mean, look, 4AM have played better over the course of the entire year, but if you look at just 2 events of PEC and the finals here, obviously Nova taking home the trophies does kind of give them a little bit of edge there. I honestly, I don't know. I think one thing that it does cause interest for me is how they're going to do next year now. How are they going to do going back into PEL? will 4am will this like make them stronger of like, oh, we shouldn't have lost this event, we're gonna go back to being the best team in China. But obviously, like we saw Nova in league stage use a different roster, right? They had Cool Boy. Cool Boy didn't play a single game, if I'm not mistaken, during finals.
No, I mean, Cool Boy, I think they'd finally decided on a roster, right? I think that was probably one of the best things for them at the end of the day. And I think they spent a lot of time coming up to this moment in time, and finally it starts to work out for them. I think I'm definitely agree with you though. I think that going into PEL next year, there's going to be some big changes because I think the way that the game's played in China, especially the version they have, is very lackadaisical. I think you can make a few mistakes because the game's quite forgiving in terms of rotations. Obviously, the gun skill is far more mechanically impressive. But I think now these teams going back over there with this experience from PMGC, they're going to be even more titans in their class.
Well, we can't even forget, Max, that they play first person in China, and they had to transition to playing third person here for this event, and yet China still ranked number 1, number 2 at the end of the finals.
Yeah, I mean, especially I think that when you're looking at the Eastern teams and especially the Chinese teams, like they got such a good like work ethic. Like they're always just like, okay, we're going in this big event, like we're going to train third person. I don't know exactly the numbers of how much they've trained, but I'm sure they put hours upon hours of training. And also not only that, like mentioning first person, like also the only map they play in Chinese tournaments is going to be Miramar and also Erangel. And when you look into the finals of the PMGC here, you know, Erangel is played like just so heavily. You got so many games. And at the end of the day, you look at day one, Foreign Men took the first game and the last game. And of course, they were played on Erangel. So I think that going into this, like they were not lost or confused whatsoever. Because it's still like a very, very familiar territory that they were playing in.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're very right. They definitely made the best out of what they're good at, and I think Erangel Miramar is where they perform the best. But yeah, Erangel is where you need to perform because it is your best map, so you do. And I think that's something a lot of teams can learn from, which is play to your strengths. And actually play to them properly. I think Class Digital Athletics did this in terms of being able to keep a lot of their members alive, and then also holding down compounds really, really well. And that was a consistent theme throughout the tournament for them.
And Class actually was a team I wanted to mention because they were battling for first place between them and 4am, if I'm not mistaken, like in day one and part of day two. We talked about, like, Max, particularly on the desk when it came to league stage, that they're so consistent, but they can't get chicken dinners. And then they start to show that they can do it. In the first day, in match 3, I believe it was, they finally pulled it off. But this team, who I was thinking easily one of the best teams outside of, you know, the Eastern Hemisphere, I thought they could have taken the whole thing. I thought they actually could have placed top 3, but they fell down to 8th place at the end. I'm not sure what happened.
I think what happened mainly is like the other teams realizing, oh, we're actually falling really hard, like far behind. We got to like step it up an extra notch. And they were like remaining at the same level the entire time. And like teams like Bigatron in the last few days, like, okay, we're going to full send it now and get fully involved. Like, oh, and
well, Liquid did play for Bigatron finally too, which was the really interesting thing.
That was great. We're going to touch on that. Like Liquid did really good. But I think that it's not that Class like played poorly afterwards. It's just like the other teams just risen so high for the occasion of those last few days that Class were like, well, all these teams
they were like,
playing so good now, we're struggling. Oh, what we do?
They were like, we'll play consistently even if it kills us. We're still not going to change in the last moments.
Okay, well, let's touch on Liquid really quick, unless you wanted to touch on Class real quick, Blank.
No, I think we're running a little bit over anyway.
We are. But obviously Liquid, I think the second game he played, they got a chicken dinner, and they got a pretty good placing the first time, and obviously he knew he was stepping into the shoes of Microboy, who would be leaving the roster. I do want to take some time, though, to talk about two teams really quickly. Navi, I want to start with them, and Zeus. So let's start with Navi first. Navi, the team who didn't qualify by like 1 or 2 points for like 2 weeks in the league stage, come in 4th place overall and came out the gate swinging. They had so many great performances. They had 2 chicken dinners in the first 7 matches. The only other team to do that was 4 Angry Men. They showed up in style, Blink.
I'll actually drop this one to Max because he's very, very knowledgeable about the EMEA scene. So I think he.
I mean, I thought you'd do an analysis for EMEA, you know, but whatever. Let's go,
I did, but Max has been in the game a long, long time and definitely knows stuff about EMEA.
I'll take it. It's okay. I'll take it. I'll leave you Zeus later on. It's cool. But of course, I think that throughout the league stage, we realized that Maker and Matic were like the 2 players like really pushing the entire team forward, but the entire team were not really performing at their level. Especially Tigsy, like he was one of the top fraggers, and me and Blank, like, I think we both realized guys are like, Tixie was popping off in the EMEA League. We're like, oh, this guy PMGC, boom, he's gonna explode. But like, unfortunately, he did not do that. And now into the finals, like, oh
Inting.
boy, he was inting. But oh boy, he was not inting going into the finals. Like that guy, like, of course, he had some things that did happen on this side, unfortunately. But he really stood out as like one of the players. Like we knew he was like part of so many great teams in like 2020, 2019. And this guy really just stood up and like, no, like it's not Metic and Meku that are going to be pulling the team forward. I can do it too. And he like made such a big statement that this guy has not fallen off. Since the start of the early days of esports, PUBG Mobile, he's been there and he's still just like such a big name that like I just can't wait to see what he's going to do in 2021 because this was such a great showing from him.
Yeah, I think he's one of those players where I just wish he was on his A game all the time.
Yeah.
Because I think if Old Boy was on his A game, even 90% of the time, he would probably be the best player in the world. Like this guy is unreal, but he is so flaky in terms of his performances sometimes, where he's just on some days just not there, and then other days you're like, who is this god who has graced?
What was it, that 1v2 with an SLR and a pan?
Yeah, like what?
It was even Team Secret. They were like, "Please stop it! Oh, boy, please
stop it! Get back!" Yeah, basically, it was like a foul base that they were trying to fight off, but he had the pan, so he was ready to cook him up nice and easy. Still, yes, I still want to see Old Boy continue to be in the scene because he deserves to be in it.
Bro,
I still think he's got a good career ahead of him, and look, he can only get better. Because he already has that potential up there. He just needs to keep fulfilling it.
But he also has Adder by his side now who can play on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's crazy to me. Obviously, in the Between the Battlegrounds episode, he talked about how he's ready. He's ready to start grinding, ready to be the best. I can't wait to see them together. But one team, I think, Zeus, we got to talk about them. We got to touch on this team. Coming in from Mongolia, coming in from the wildcard qualifier. This team, third place, I think put Mongolia on the map right there just from this tournament alone. They played so damn well. And you also have to talk about Godless on the team, filling in for Ronan, who couldn't come because of visa issues. He, just amazing.
Yeah, made a statement for himself being on the team going forward. Let's just put it very bluntly, though. They were pretty crap at the beginning of the PMGC league stages. Let's be quite honest. Which is why it's so bloody impressive how far they've come since those first initial games. They were basically surviving by skittering around the map and just rotate. To be fair, their rotates, I noticed this very early on, were actually quite good. And it was just like, oh, they just can't fight some things. And then I remember one specific Vikendi game, I think the circle went north, and they were like, we're just going to take center compound. We'll just take center compound. And they absolutely dominated from that position. And then they were just like, we play aggressive now, guys. And then you got people like ICY and Abley just start to step up to the plate, and you're like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, these guys are insane. They just need a little bit of time, a little bit of practice against some of these top teams, learn from them. They absolutely did. I think they were taking lots of notes, and now they're one of the best teams in the world, quite evidently.
Yeah, I think one thing also is, like, we were talking about Godless going in for Ronin's position, but like, let's not forget that Ronin actually went in as analyst, and like into the league stage, Ronin was like known as the most aggressive player of Zeus, and I was like thinking, like, if he goes down, they need to play more aggressive. Their rotations, as you mentioned it, Blank, that they're really strong. Now we want to see more aggressiveness coming out from them. They've got Ronin in the analyst position, and I think like that intoxicated the entire team in a good way, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean, is there a bad way to be
intoxicated? Every fight.
It's like drunken fist, right? In the game.
He busted out the bottle of vodka and diet.
Diet tonic water.
Diet tonic water.
To go. Low calorie.
I don't think they're old enough to drink.
Insane effect.
Though. But the thing is, like, Max, we talked about this on the desk, right? This team came in with no expectations. They said if they got top 8, they would be floored. And then they finished top 3. Like, they actually could have taken home first place in that final game if they didn't have that crazy thing happen in the final match where they just got caught from all directions.
I think like it goes down to also what D-Man was saying. Yes, good point. Yes. D-Man said it really good into the league stage. The fact is, like, when a team goes into a tournament without anything to lose, like, we're just gonna have fun and try and like go for the best we can do. That's when teams become really scary, and it really showed in that tournament. Like, they were going like, wait, we're on top now. And I think the moment they realized, oh, we're actually on top now, they were like sort of getting contested by like Foreign Men, Navi, and also the side of Nova Esports. So they were starting to fall behind a little bit, but still, like, I'm really impressed with them, and I just can't wait to see what they can do going into 2021, because I want to see a lot more of Zeus in the future.
Oh yeah. It actually makes you think about, could they have taken second place away from Foreign Gear Men? Because if you remember, Sook was the last alive, just trying to hold on for a good like 10 minutes before he finally got cleaned up. But obviously, you know, hindsight's always 2020. Things can always be different. Yeah, things can always change in the future. But we'll move on now. Obviously, we are running a little bit over time, but that's okay. We kind of want to talk about what's coming up in the future, right? And we've had a couple of roster changes happen, and I think the first one we're gonna be touching on here is Microboy leaving Bigatron, or sorry, retiring. I think we all have our thoughts about that one. Go ahead, Blaine.
I mean, look, man, I don't. I think retiring is maybe it was a mistranslation. I don't know, but he definitely didn't retire. He was like, "Yes, I'm going to rest in my armchair." Oh, actually, I quite want to get back in the game now. So yeah, it almost instantly got off the roller back on the road. So pretty happy for him, to be honest with you. But he's gone over to a thing called EVOS, with some. I'm not going to say it lightly. I mean, some pretty no-name players on that team that we've not really seen before, and I think you were telling me, Jason, in particular, like he wants to go prove himself, that he wasn't getting carried on BTR, which a lot of times, let's be honest, it did look that way. And I think that we threw a lot of times, oh, he's a support player for the team, or he does the smokes and stuff like that. I think we have seen some games where it was just Microbiome left alive and he has to clutch it, and he's not able to do that same kind of maneuvers like Ryzen, Luxio, Zuxi, that you can put your faith in them to actually pull off.
I agree with you on that one.
Max, what is this going?
It's like to initiate, return to monkey. But I think overall it's still really strong to have a mindset like, you know, you're part of the biggest teams, like, you know, in an esports scene like PUBG Mobile, and you're like, well, no, people are questioning me, I'm going to prove them wrong. And I think that that's something so strong, because I don't think everyone, like, I would be in his position, I would not leave Bigatron. I'd be like, no, dude, I'm staying here right now.
He's good.
Like, it's good here. I like it. It's warm. But like, he was like, I'm gonna move away and I'm gonna like do all of my effort for the past like year and a half, like from zero. And I'm just like, wow, that really takes balls off still to go for it. So I respect Mecha Bro heavily for him to do that.
I mean,
Micro Bro, is that what you call it?
I said Micro Boy, but like Micro Bro works too. No,
okay.
The thing is, right? Like,
I respect it.
If you think about it this way, I guess it kind of makes sense. He has probably all the money he needs for his entire life. Like, it reminds me of like Ninja, obviously going over to another streaming platform and coming back to another platform. It's like, you have all the money in the world you need. Like, just do what you want to do. Have fun with your life now. And maybe that's something he wants to do, is prove himself and enjoy some matches with the homies. But we also have RQ Athena. Yeah, the boys. RQ Athena, G9, Beer11 leaving the team. Where are they going to go? I mean, they obviously have insane talent, Beer11 especially. But I don't know if they just completely ended up quitting or if they're actually just going to join another team.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Beer11 can definitely start his own career in modeling if he wants to. That guy looks fire, so he can go do that wherever he wants. Gene, on the other hand, I do feel sorry for the guy. He was swapped and changed so many times in that roster, like pulled out, pushed back in again. I think he's actually really good. And I think that as an IGL, he can have a great impact somewhere else. So I just let him do it.
Okay. And then we also have Vitsuduke, who was previously on Alpha 7, ended up leaving the team, and then he's joined B4 Esports. And if you guys don't know B4, they played back in PMPL, and they're actually a team to watch out for. But I'm curious how this addition of him might add to the team, because he is an in-game leader.
I think I let that one for blank, because B4, I don't know them too much. I know Vitsuduke is really good in-game leader, but that's fine. But like B4, I'm intrigued how it's going to work out with him, because when you, like Microboy, he's in a really similar position where he's just like leaving an entire team and then just like trying to rebuild a new one from like, not from scratch, because B4 do have that history in like PMPL Americas. But I'm intrigued how that's going to work out with B4, because VT2K is also a really, really aggressive player on its own regard. So I wonder how that synergy will potentially go together.
Yeah, before we go over that, do you have anything you want to say about Beer11 or G9? I know we swept over it really quickly.
I cursed RQ enough. I don't think I have to talk about them.
I don't think he's allowed to talk about the team.
I think I lost that privilege a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah, Vitsuduke, honestly, really aggressive player. B4 got Ninebete for PMPL Americas. Did pretty well. Gave the team a bit of a spark of life that they desperately needed. It's a turtle team.
Do you just punch your microphone because you're that invested into Ninebete?
Yeah, I did. I was very angry. Actually, I karate chopped the wire, which is probably what made that awful noise. Sorry about that. But Vitsuduke is going to bring the karate chops to B4. Hopefully, I need him to be doing some flying kicks, some hidden tiger, crouching dragon. The dragon does not fly, but it travels around in a US instead. But I think this is what they need. I think they desperately need it. I think as a leader as well, as Max said, having aggressive leader is going to be important for this team. I think B4 can be really strong, and their reign in Novo in PPL Americas was one of the most like dominant positions for such a long time, and you knew that once they finally rolled into those final circles, it was theirs to take.
Yeah, and I think before back in PMPL Americas, they got like a chicken dinner every single day. They got at least one.
Yeah, it was insane.
But it does obviously give me like some hope, excitement into the future, right? We got PMPL coming up. We have a lot more PMPLs happening this year. I'm curious how it's going to go for a lot of these different regions in particular, especially the ones who are getting more of these PMPLs. But before even that happens, you got PMCO coming up, right? That starts on the 16th of February, so only like 13 days from now. You had Class Digital Athletics come in from PMCO Max and make it into the global finals and come in 8th place overall. Like, there's a lot of potential out there, and we've seen so many teams rising through the ranks out of PMCO alone.
I would love to see like a lot of the teams like Zeus, like also Class, like not change their roster, because I truly believe they got like so much potential. I'm not thinking of like league stage godsend like 5 minutes after they knew they were not qualified. We disband now. We're finished. I hope that like really that like you made it into the top 16 best teams in the world. I think that's a great I think that's a great statement. You can definitely put that on your resume, and I would like to see them stick together and prove themselves going back into 2021. Like, if you got already such a strong team from the get-go, like just keep working on that and you might make it. Like Zeus, if they keep working a little bit more, hey, top 3 to top 1, they's not that far off.
Yeah, honestly, it makes me really excited what's coming up in this entire year with what we have coming up, and of course into the next GC as well. Blank, I think we're about. If you have any thoughts about PMCO, then go ahead. But I think we're about done with the episode today.
This could be one of the hottest years yet, PUBG Mobile.
Oh, yeah.
So if you are thinking about signing up for a team for PMCO, don't think about it, do it. This is the time to be in PUBG Mobile. There's a lot of backing right now, and the community is very, very nice. As you can see, we're lovely people too. You can maybe hang out with us one day.
Max, that was creepy.
5-star hotels. What's the?
He gave a big stare there. I think there's actually only a few days left to sign up for PMCO as well.
Real. Get it done, because you could be the next superstar. You could be the next Zeus. Like it is very possible that there are people that we just haven't seen yet emerge to the top.
Yeah, especially if you're in Japan too, because they got an entire new esports scene. Japan is going to be super hyped to see what they can do this year. Popping off, Yes. Okay. Well,
obviously, Max, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. I want to give you a chance to say a few thoughts here before we end things off.
And no, thanks for having me. I think it was really fun overall to be able to cover the event at the end of the day. Like, I've been like, ooh, I'm smiling, yes. No, like really, I gotta say, I'm like really, really hyped up for the entire things that are gonna be coming in 2021. And I gotta say, like personally for me, like the support on social media and everything has been insane. So if you guys have been supporting me on social media, thank you so much. It's been great. I really, really appreciate everything and that's been happening this year.
Stop it, Max. Stop cursing RQ.
Oh, dude, I got some serious hate messages for that though. Like, really, people taking it to the next level.
Yeah, I saw some of those. They weren't nice. Usually I just get nice little messages saying,
"Be nice to me.
Hey, good job on your casting." And I'm like, Matt.
All right, well, Blank, go ahead. Your chance, man.
Well, I already did my little roundup, but
you ready to round up? Okay.
No, I'm joking. Let me back. Yeah, so thank you everyone for supporting me this year. Honestly, it has been crazy. Almost on 6,000 followers on Instagram, which I never thought would happen ever. So thank you so much. And again, definitely go follow Maxman. Go follow Jason.
Other way.
This way.
There you go.
Go follow those two guys because they're really cool and awesome, and they make the desk so good.
They do the desk thing.
They do the desk thing. I do not know much about the desk, but they do a good desk.
Oh, there's so many things I could say about that, Blank, about you on the desk, but I'm just not going to touch those right now, especially when it comes
I'm on the desk right now.
Yeah.
This is technical desk.
No, your Discord mod now. Go back.
Yeah, with your mustache.
Return to Discord mod.
Well, I'm gonna just like kind of like reiterate what they said. Yeah, obviously a big shout out to everyone out there that's been supporting not only us here as well, all the other talent, whether language is in English or what other language it might be around the world. It's been fantastic to see, you know, PUBG Mobile esports grow throughout these last 2 years, pretty much. I mean, we had 3.8 million peak viewership on day one of PMGC. That rivals the biggest esports events in history and even some other events that have happened outside of esports. But obviously, you know, give these guys a follow. You have their social medias up on the screen the entire time. You can also follow us this podcast over at 6X Podcast over on Instagram and over on Twitter as well. We'll try to continue to pump the content out as it does come. But thank you guys again for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time here on the 6X.